friends talking about it. Your mum's talking about it. Your dad's talking about it. Your dog's talking about it. He's barking about it. A lot of white people are barking about it.
People are crying about it.
It's the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Do you still call him Prince Harry?
I will.
I mean, I will, obviously.
He'll always be my prince.
He'll be my prince. But is it just Harry?
I think, yeah, they stripped him of his title, didn't they? Actually, no, he's not been stripped. No, so I guess he's still Prince Harry.
Yeah, but he's taken himself out.
Yeah, but he's born into it. You can't just take it off him, surely.
Yeah, but they did it to little, the new kid, Archie.
Yeah, but he's not in line for the throne or anything. Well, he's probably 7th.
Yeah, it might be 7th or 9th, but they still took it off him. But yeah, I don't know if it's Prince Harry.
Yeah, but Harry's white. Like, let's be honest, Harry's white.
We're going there already.
Are they going to take his title?
2 minutes into the pod. But yeah, so we're going to chat about the interview with Oprah, with brackets Prince, close brackets Harry, and Meghan Markle.
Or Meghan, as they kept calling it.
I literally can't believe
annoying.
it. Also, Meghan. Is it Meghan?
Megan.
Like, I know she's got that H dashed in there, but
Megan.
So yeah, and then basically all events that have transpired from that interview, including the one and only Piers Morgan.
Bomber chicken.
Bomber chicken.
Idiot man.
What were your thoughts on the interview? Did you watch it live? When it aired? I say live. When it
aired in the UK, I did, yeah. I know loads of people did catch it when it was airing in the US. But, yeah, I think...
The links.
Bare people were tweeting about it, like, in the UK that had watched it or whatever. But I was like, I'm going to sit and I'm going to wait. I mean, I could have done with longer adverts to really unpack what the hell I was listening to.
You wanted longer adverts. I was just like, another advert.
Yeah, well, I did say that as well. But then me and Callum would get into like a conversation about it, and then the minute it'd come on, I'd be like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
It's back on.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
I think it was quite a difficult interview to listen to. Mm-hmm. Me personally, I don't like Oprah's style of interviewing.
You know who I think would have been sick on that thing?
Yeah.
ZZ Mills.
She'd be like straight
She would have left no stone unturned.
She would have gone in though.
Yeah,
she would have gone in.
It's a very bull in the china shop approach, and I don't know what exactly strikes me as this, but Meghan doesn't strike me as a bull in the china shop sort of gal.
No, but do you know what? The social media are like, yeah, she's controlling. You can see. I've seen all of these things come out where it's like, her body language, the axis of their body is
people
different.
Are literally on a mad one. Yeah, like
I'm like, she can't do wrong from right. She's not allowed to hold her baby bum. Like,
she can't eat avocado. Did you see about that?
She avocado.
She got ripped for eating avocado.
I cannot. All of that stuff, I love that they cut to those clips.
Yeah.
Because it made the impact so much more. But for me, going back to my point, is that Oprah's style of interviewing, I felt, was taken away from a lot of the things that were being said. Like, so, for example, what really agged me is, do you know when she was reading out the headlines to Meghan, and obviously she knew that Meghan hadn't heard this because she'd explicitly said, I haven't read any of the stuff, but other people say it. She was creating trauma for the public's consumption, and I was like, this girl has protected herself from it after she's literally just sat there and said I was unstable.
It is
and
tough.
Then Oprah's like, no. It'll be good for the interview. But...
I mean, I'm not saying it is tough, but as in like with an interviewer, they have got a job there to interview. So let's say, and I'm not saying that this was the right thing to do. Let's say she didn't ask the difficult questions or she didn't ask the probing questions. People are then going to be like, oh, that was a crap interview. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you remember there was a interview ages ago? It's like he's an interviewer on Channel 4. I can't remember his name. I feel like his name's Krishnan or something like that. He's like an Asian interviewer, and he was interviewing Robert Downey Jr. And this is when Robert Downey Jr. took like a little hiatus from like the public eye because he was like battling with, I think it was like drugs and alcohol or something like that. And then he finally came back into the public eye because he was promoting his movie. But everyone wanted to know about,
that's what people want to know about, yeah.
So Krishnan knew, he was like, right, there's certain things that he doesn't want to touch, but obviously there's certain things that, I don't know, my bosses or the public want to hear. So like, as an interviewer, they were like, well, how do I go about that? So like, I remember watching that interview, and he was like, you could see him sweating because he was like, Robert Downey Jr. had already shut down the questions like twice now.
Yeah.
But he was like, I still need some form of answer. And I remember like he was towing the line. He was like going ha ha ha, like being really really awkward about it. And then Robert Downey Jr. just like cut off the interview. He's like, what the heck is this? I've said no.
Yeah.
And then just walked off and like left.
However, if Meghan did that, she didn't have the opportunity to do that, because if she
couldn't even get away with doing that.
If she would have done that, she wouldn't have got away with it. The media would have won again. But I just thought, since we're on the topic of how damaging media is, and yet Oprah is also contributing to that, and my friend was like, yeah, but some people won't have read the headlines. And I was like, yeah, but at what cost? We can go and Google the headlines that might have come up. We can go and do that research. It's not hard, because it'll be the first things that come up, like racist headlines about Meghan Markle. Yeah. First things that'll come up. Do you know what I mean? We're not gonna be skint on those headlines if we put it in Google. But Oprah was like literally doing it for the emotional reaction.
Did you know that they said this? No, I didn't read it. Well, they said this.
And then she's
I didn't know that. I didn't read it. Like,
she's literally like, you can see her trying to hold together a devastation, because she's like, from what I've heard, this has already done so much damage, and I'm on the bounce back, and then Oprah's like, but what about this? I think that's just thought mad.
I think that's a really interesting perspective to take, because I do know quite a few people were thinking that Oprah wasn't probing enough.
Oh really?
Yeah. So some people were like, she isn't, like, she's just skirting around the issues. Like, she's getting a general topic, so she's obviously bringing a topic to table, or like an idea to the table, and then she's letting them unpack it how they want, because I'm sure they, like, their lawyers and their solicitors and whatever have been very very strict. This is what you categorically cannot say, or whatever, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But like, I think she was pretty probing to the degree that she could be. So do you remember, like, we'll go into it in great detail later, but like when they make that comment about which royal family member made that comment about her son's skin tone, and she asked it twice to Meghan, and Meghan said no, and then she said, why won't you say? And she was like, well, it will be damaging to them. And then she asked it to Harry. Joey's like, oh, mum said no, so try ask that. But he was like nope. And then she asked him again, and he was like, I'm never telling you that. And I was like, right, that's not happening. Like, she gave it a good go.
With some things she was overly probing, and then some of the things that I think she could have went into more detail on.
Anything in particular?
I think that she could have, like, you're saying that she's getting a general picture, but I don't think you really got a general picture. I think we only really talked about the fact that they were talking about the institution and the mental illness, like unwellness and the struggle and stuff. But when Harry came on, I thought she was going to take a different angle, but she asked very much the same questions.
I found that it was very repetitive.
Yeah.
So I was a bit like, okay, yeah, because a lot of it was focused on Meghan, but then still to Harry, it was about like talking about Meghan.
I would want to know personally more about the institution itself.
And how it affects him.
And how it works.
Yeah.
Because
I don't think that's something that they can answer. Because do you remember when she was asking people, like, she was like, who is the institution? Is it a person or is it a group? And then Meghan was like, oh, it's a person, but it's people.
And then and then Harry was like, there's a few different people.
Yeah, because, and I feel like it's one of those things, like, it's mad because like everybody knows like the royal family, but they are not the powers that be. Like, they're not. But
people don't know that though.
That's mad. Whereas
people actually think the Queen has some authority.
What? Little Liz.
So even, but we'll get to that.
Please.
We'll get to that.
Little Lizzie. There's no way. There's no way, little Lizzie.
The royal version of
Yeah,
Baby
but,
Yoda. I can't go.
But like literally, so like, yeah, you have like the institution, but like nobody even knows who the institution. Like no one knows. It sounds
like something mad. Like,
I don't even think I should be discussing. I don't think I should be discussing this.
Yeah, like a dystopian fucking novel.
Just joking.
Yeah, if we disappear, you know what happened. The institution got
Hashtag the institution. I don't even want to start that. That's mad.
Do you know when they were talking about it, I envisioned it as some sort of like weird little pyramid, like
Illuminati.
I literally was gonna say, I bet they invented the Illuminati to take away from their little situation institution, like. Because when you learn about these things, when I did my degree and we were learning about our legal system all the way up to the sovereignty, I realised then like how little power Lizzie had.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Lizzie, like, she's my girl.
She's got nothing.
She's got nothing.
Do you remember with like my brother, like, I don't know, like, this is the thing that I remember like in history that just stuck out to me. My brother always said it, like, Joe, the Magna Carta, because King John was just a bit of a madness. So they were like, you know what? You can't have any powers anymore, bro. So you're just there because of your bloodline.
You're the face of the company.
Yeah,
that's
and you're
it.
the face. Do you know what I mean?
That's literally
It's basically like, and I don't even want to water it down, but it's like Britney. Britney's the face, but who is the powers that be? Lord, I don't
free
know.
Lizzie, innit?
Yeah, free Lizzie, free Lizzie, free Britney.
I said this, I was like, I'm not being funny. If you're 90-10, would you still want to be working?
90-10.
She actually doesn't have any control over what she does, where she goes. Like they said, you can't just go somewhere. Meghan was stuck inside. What did she say? She went out twice in 4 months.
Lord have mercy me. Yeah, she said she didn't leave the house in 2 months. She'd firmed lockdown before all of us had firmed lockdown.
In it, and that's what she was saying. And like, I feel like people can really sympathise with that.
Yeah.
And the fact that people are still being like, I don't know whether you actually were depressed or were suicidal or anything. It's ridiculous, because if you just see how everyone's took it so deep with lockdown, you know how it feels.
And I think what's crazy as well, so around this time last year, there was the suicide of Caroline Flack.
Yeah.
And especially people like Piers Morgan, but we'll talk about his Ross later.
I pray for him.
About the be kind.
Yeah.
Like, people struggle with mental illness, but then when it's Meghan Markle there, everyone was like, well, she's lying. Or the worst, yeah, that was the worst one that I saw. She's an actress doing her greatest performance. What does she have to gain from that? To bring down the institution? I don't think so. You
can see she's super uncomfortable talking about it, but she knows it needs to be spoken about.
I thought that when I was watching it, she seemed so detached.
Yeah.
So she was saying words, but like even her eyes, they were very like, do you know what I mean?
Even then, do you know when Oprah was like picking up on stuff and Meghan would just go, as if to say like, can you just make your own conclusion? Like, can you finish? I don't want to say anymore.
I can't say. So she's like,
I don't really want to talk about it, but I know I have to talk about it. So please, can you leave this? And I just thought like,
were you silent or silent?
The
latter.
When she was like, who is having that conversation? And she was just like,
yeah, but the thing is like, yeah, it's a bit mad. And especially when she was talking about her suicide, I just thought, like, she was so, well, not her suicide, but her suicidal ideation. Like, she was so open about it, but it was so sad just hearing her speak about it, because she just seemed so detached from it. Like, it's, I don't know, I just found it really, really upsetting to listen to.
Especially when you're like, you know, she used the picture as the example, saying, oh, my friend sent me this picture being like, oh, you look amazing. She was like, when I see that picture, this is what it means to me. Like, I literally told my husband a matter of hours earlier that I couldn't be left alone because I would kill myself. Like, and then she's got to put on a sparkly frock and she's act like everything's cool.
Like, can we deep as well? Because everyone's like, oh, she wasn't going to kill herself. Like, why would a woman who's pregnant joke about that? Because the implications that it can have on you, your future kids, if that ever gets, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, what does she have to gain from making up something like that? I think it's so damaging. So yeah, as I was saying, like, the fact that you had the whole hashtag be kind and stuff like that, but then you can only pick and choose for the celebrities that you want it to happen to.
Yeah, 100%. Or it's usually the case that people would only speak up or like realise what they're saying at the point. At the point there it's too late, or something bad's happened or whatever, and people just need to start checking themselves before it gets to that point, because like, otherwise what changes are you making? You're just like, oh, this person died, let's commemorate them, whatever, and then it happens to the next person.
You like, it doesn't work in retrospect. Do you know what I mean?
Also, I thought it was really interesting how nobody, you know, because Harry said in that whole conversation, like, yeah, when she told me,
he was ashamed.
He was like, I then became depressed. Like, not one person has questioned this guy.
You know what? That's actually
not
really
one person has questioned this guy to be like, oh, I don't think Harry was depressed either. It's just Meghan.
I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that at all.
Why is it that when women show emotions, it's either manipulative,
or
lies,
being dramatic,
but
when it's the man, especially white males, what they say is taken as gospel.
Do you know what I mean? And
like,
he's literally there going, nah, like, I've seen this, I've seen that,
like,
and nobody questions his words.
That I've read where like black women have died in childbirth because they were like, you know what, the pain is too much, and then people are just like, nah,
you be alright,
you're fine,
you be alright.
Yeah, which is mad.
Like, I just think there's so many things, so many layers to the fact that people are going in on Meghan Markle over her own mental health. Like, you can even have an opinion on that. Like, why would you? What if it was your friends? Like, I've seen so many like tweets, so many Instagram posts or whatever that people have shared, being like, Meghan Markle might not see the messages and the hate that you're putting out there, but your friend
will have.
And like, what are the statistics now? 1 in 4 people. 1 in 4 people have suffered through mental illness. So you're basically, the chances of you reaching several of your friends saying, I actually don't care about this issue,
or I don't believe
or your
them.
feelings, and I think you're being dramatic, or this, that and the other. That's the message that you're putting out there at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Just honestly.
Do you know what I find really interesting? So they mentioned in the interview, do you know, like, my hair touches me sometimes. I'm like, oh, what's that?
What's that?
What's that? It's my hair. So when they, like, basically did they get kicked out? Or
technically, yeah. No, they said that they would step down to 2nd tier, and then they were like...
Yeah, but then they got cut off, so they didn't get given any, like...
Yeah, that they got kicked out of the royal family.
And then Tyler Perry, the irony, brought them in. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is mad.
And gave them security, because that was the main thing. And I think the way Meghan was saying it and the way she was trying to express herself, she was saying security, but people, the public and stuff, are taking it as security as like money security.
No.
And it's literally
safety.
Physical safety.
You have to remember that they are the monarchy. Like, do you know when you hear, like, or you watch those crazy movies and you have people held at ransom? That's what they're chatting about.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big deal. And the fact that they left England as well, because it was so racist, and they moved to America,
this
of all places,
saying was the maddest thing, though. So they went to Canada first, and then the media, i.e. the institution or whatever, I
feel like we really need to stop saying that. Like, I'm just worried.
They released stories basically saying, this is their location, this is when we're taking security off them.
Which is
mad.
mad.
Do you know how mad that is? You put a target on their back.
On their back, I know.
Blatantly. Like, after, and then the fact that Harry just came out, looked Oprah dead in the eye and was just like, I could see history repeating itself. I was like, oh!
Yeah, but it's so mad because, like...
I was like, that is literally it.
I'm glad he said it, because I was just thinking, do you know what I mean? Like...
Literally using the media as a weapon. What, so...
my heart really just go out to him. Like, I know, like, to be fair, it was a bit mad the way that Oprah posed this, because she was like, how do you, Harry, as a comfortable, wealthy white man, feel oppressed? And, like, don't get me wrong, like, I understand where she's coming from. Like, I really, really do. And for me, like, you know how I am, pray back. I never stop barking on about it. But I do understand that everybody's situations is so unique.
Yeah.
So just because, like, I may face challenges as a black person, Harry will never face those because he's not a black person. But there's also things that he will face as who he is that I will never face because I'm not who he is.
Yeah.
So that I really do feel for him, the fact that the amount of trauma that he's been through as a young kid, like being in the public eye with his mum and then his mum dying and then him having to frog march with the coffin in front of the entire world, not having his bereavement and grieving process in public.
Yeah.
But then still having a lot of unanswered questions.
And then still having to show up like it's work every single day from such a young age.
Just like Meghan had to do when she told Harry, like, I genuinely think I could kill myself. And she had to just put on a sparkly dress and smile. He's having to put on his best grin, suit up and then go out. And he's having to do this day on day on day on day on day.
And I think on the converse of it, obviously Oprah wasn't allowing for the fact that it did have that same strain on him mentally as it did Meghan, because she was relating with Meghan, but she couldn't relate with Harry. And like, I felt for him in that minute, but I feel like he really did. He was like, yeah, fair enough.
I think he answered it very, very well. He did.
At the end of the day, he is a prisoner. He was a prisoner, and he was like, and he literally said, I would have never left if it wasn't for Meghan, because I was trapped and I didn't even know I was trapped.
I think it is about the perspective you look at it, because you have on one side Meghan, who is basically somebody who's not part of the royal family, getting into that situation, and it being so overwhelming for them. But then you have to also remember that, oh wait, Harry's been born into that. He's not had an option.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just kind of generally.
And even still, like, so he's lived this way his whole life, right? And basically the rug is being pulled from underneath him, which he never even prepared himself for, because he was like, I'm Prince Harry. Like, I never thought my security would be taken away from me.
I think it's because a lot of people think that because he's Prince Harry, like, he's got it. But like, I think it's only until hearing that interview that a lot of people realised, actually, no, it isn't the royal family that rule all.
And he literally said, like, we wouldn't have even been able to do this if it wasn't for the money that my mother left him. That shows that he literally had no income. He had no control over his finances because the crown pays him. And, like, where do you go with that? Because if they take it away and you've got no control over when, where, how they take it away, you're not ready. If you know you're losing your job, right, you can save, and be like, okay, I can do this
or
until
apply for another job.
What is he gonna do? What's your qualifications? Prince.
I'd hire him.
Can do side saddle.
I'd hire him.
I do a stocking side saddle. And I got some good swordsmanship.
Did you see when they were at this event, like, it was Harry and Meghan, and then, like, Harry was basically, like, practically giving a verbal CV, like, Meghan's verbal CV is like, do you know that she does voiceovers? She's really good.
Oh my god! I saw a compilation of him pulling her ponytail out of her, like, jackets and stuff the other day, and I was like, that is so cute. Like,
I actually need to hire someone to do that for me, because my braids are so long that when I get in my car, my head's like,
well, we all know how I sit here, like,
yeah, literally
all the
madness.
time. It's getting too much.
What
Someone needs to cut my hair.
Snip. I think, no, we have actually already touched on it, but like the public perceptions of Meghan. So obviously we've talked about the media perceptions and Oprah's perceptions, but like every day, do you know what I mean? Joe blogs.
Every day. It depends what generation you're talking to.
It really does, because like I don't touch Facebook.
Yeah,
I leave that
it's
away.
Such a negative place.
So a lot of interactions that I get about public and then understand public perceptions are from my friends, and then from Twitter, and then a little bit from Instagram. And that's like, for me, I just see Instagram as a massive bandwagon thing. So whatever is the most popular opinion, that is probably what is going to be shown on Instagram.
Well, that's what the algorithm's going to bring up on your feed, isn't it?
That's true. Yeah. I don't think I can do that. Let's edit that. Whereas on Twitter, you get far more a diverse.
Yeah, that's true.
Opinion.
People just are so ballsy on Twitter. I have never.
It's because the way people use Twitter. So when I first got Twitter, like literally, it must have been something dumb like. Oh,
you got it ages ago, innit?
I used Twitter as my personal diary. So whatever I thought, Twitter said it.
Yeah.
Like, if I've thought it, I've tweeted it.
Yeah.
It's odd. Like, I'm hungry. But, do you know what I mean?
What should I eat for dinner?
Yeah,
no one cares.
I just dropped my pen. Like, literally.
Hey, that's what I tweet now. I'm at that stage. I dropped my whole banana in the bin right after peeling it. I was like,
tragic.
I'm good to tell someone.
Tragic. I'll tell the world.
Someone cry with me.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of why. So people do literally have a stream of consciousness or an internal monologue out on Twitter and forget that. You know what? I don't even think that people forget the consequence, because you've got some real ballsy people on there. Like, I know the consequence. They're not bothered, which is why a lot of people put their Twitter on private.
That's true. I've seen a lot of people, do you know, it looks like they've just made a Twitter just to comment something mad.
Yeah, I know. Because when you look at it, it's got like 10 followers following 300 people.
They tweeted something first time today or something, and you're literally like, wow, the passion and hatred within you is strong.
But a lot of the public perceptions that I saw, so especially like the interviews, so like you've got obviously your classic Good Morning Britain, Lorraine.
That's why I was going to go with it. That's
I don't even want to get there yet.
That's the audience.
I'm not going to talk about the audience though, but I'm talking about the interviewers. So for example, I think it was on Lorraine. The white splain that I got from there literally made me
I didn't
sick.
see anything on Lorraine.
So basically, I'm not sure if it was Lorraine, so I'm really sorry if it wasn't Lorraine. Big up Lorraine if it wasn't you. If it was you, Lorraine, check yourself. Because it was mad. So basically, the white splaining was just unfathomable. It's about she felt like she had the right and the prerogative to tell black people what was and wasn't racist, and whether they should be offended or whether they shouldn't be offended.
Okay.
So, for example,
she
said,
actually had this conversation like with who?
With a black woman.
Oh.
With a black woman. So she said, well, the comments. So these comments that they got, it depends. Like, was it out and out racism, or was it, just your casual racism? So I was just like, well, what's casual racism?
Racism is racism.
Is casual racism the one that you wear when you got joggers on, and out and out racism is the one where you're wearing a suit? Do you know what I mean?
What, does someone get a caution for casual racism,
like,
and then
me,
you get cancelled for out and out?
Out and out racism.
Like, what scale are we trying to create?
For me, I'm like, so when somebody makes a sexist comment, it's sexist. When someone makes a homophobic comment, it's homophobic. But it's only racism that you can kind of toe the line with. Is that really racist, or is it just a little racist?
I think every ismist, like, issue and problem that people talk about, there is always that spectrum of people that go like, it's just like toxic feminists, or actually just toxic females that are carrying the water for the patriarchy, where they go like, oh, like, they're just angry women. Like, I feel like that's where they go, like, that's just like banter sexism. I do feel like there is something for everything, but I do get your point where
you get it way. I just feel like you get
they're
it way
a bit more blatant about it.
You get it way more.
Yeah.
But like, for me, I guess it's down to who you are as a person. Like, if I, God forbid, said anything that was like homophobic or whatnot, if somebody who was part of that community, if someone who was part of that community heard that and said, Estelle, I think that was a really ignorant comment, I wouldn't then go to them like, no, it wasn't because of this.
I would say it's only a little bit.
I'd be like, I'm so sorry.
Of course.
And then I'd learn from it and move on. Whereas I don't know what it is about some white people in today's day and age where they just feel like, well, even though you think it's race, even though you told me it's racist, I'm going to tell you why I don't think it's racist. Like, this actually isn't a discussion.
Yeah.
I've told you what it is, and I don't understand why it's a debate. Why can you argue a point that you've got no knowledge on, no experience on?
Yeah.
Like,
but feel so passionately about it. Like, it actually doesn't make that much of a difference to you, like, and how you live your life. If someone says, I actually don't like that, and you go, oh, okay, I'm really sorry. If someone said, do you know what, I really don't like you calling me fat, would you carry on calling them fat? Or would you be like,
I actually don't mean it because you're like massive. I'm just saying it because you just,
like, oh, I was just joking. Like, can't we just have banter like that? Like, I thought that's fine. I think that's fine. You wouldn't. You just stop calling them fat because it's not worth it. I
think it was Colleen on Loose Women who basically interviewed a black lady about the interview, and she was like, don't you just think it's so surprising everything that she was saying, and like what she faced as like a woman of colour? And the woman's like, no. What? Because Colleen was like, I just thought it was so crazy, don't you? And she's like, no, I don't. And I was like, you know what, I rate her for saying that, because sometimes, especially when like the camera's on you or there's loads of people looking toward you to say a particular thing, you can just kind of just water stuff down. But actually it's not shocking, because a lot of times this is people's reality.
And like, people need to understand that as well. Like, the more white people get shocked about these things, the bigger the issue is, I think, because you shouldn't be shocked by this. You should be aware of these issues now, especially after 2020. It's been pushed to the forefront. You can't deny the issues any longer. Like, so people being like, I can't believe they would say that. I can't believe they wrote that in a paper. I've still got friends who are like, it's so obvious. Like,
even when you had the Sainsbury's ad thing, like, I had some friends saying, can you believe that people responded like this? Yeah, I can believe people responded like this because people are racist out here. People are racist out here. Can you believe, like, yeah, this is my reality. And this isn't going to be like, you know what, even if it is going to be one of those podcasts, it's going to be one of those podcasts. If Hannah can deal with it, so can you.
It's not a case of dealing with it. Like, it's something that people need to start listening to and stop fighting it. Like,
because I can guarantee there's going to be some people like, oh no, race conversation now. Turn off the pod.
Turn off the pod off then.
You know what, your ear upon this. So
if you don't want any feminist rants, if you don't want any anti-racist rants, then
cancel Hannah May racist rants.
In it, the way that I say everything backwards, I am going to get cancelled one day.
But the way I see it, a lot of these issues, it's just humanitarian reasons. Like, it's not humanitarian reasons, but humanitarian issues. So if you're a human, and an issue affects a human, surely you should care because it's a human issue. But
People
hey
are
ho.
too comfortable, man. They just don't.
If it doesn't bother them, they're not bothered.
Their life is a couch, and they've etched that little shape into
I
it,
know,
and
they've got that little...
that's where they sit. That's where they sit for the rest of their life in their little comfy cushion.
Do you know who was sitting on a comfy cushion on their little talk show every damn morning?
Isn't he? He's on like 3 times a week.
Yeah, I don't want to say his name loads, so we're going to call him P. Morgan.
Fucking
P. Morgan.
Dickhead.
So, do you know what I found out the other day?
Oh Lord.
Yeah, no, I think you probably already know it.
Go
but
on.
Basically, Piers' little personal vendetta.
Oh well, yeah, I have seen this.
So obviously, I found out from his infamous storming out and quitting fiasco that he got pied by Meghan, but I didn't really know, like, obviously, why would I know the ins and outs? I ain't his mate. But he was on an interview. I really need to get my facts straight because I'm like, it could be this, but I can't really remember. But he was on an interview with someone else, and basically saying how he'd went.
This is like time ago.
Yeah, ages
time
ago, like long. So he was out. Meghan was also out. He put her in a taxi, and she left to go to another event where Prince Harry was. And then he was like, and then they went for a solo meal, and I never heard it from her again.
Yeah, because that's the party that she met Prince Harry at.
Exactly, but so
he's bitter.
A lot of people are saying, well, it's because he's bitter because he felt like pied.
It is deeper than that, but
I'm
he is
like,
bitter.
Yeah, but I'm a bit like, so, like, she doesn't owe you anything.
Oh, well, this just gets us started on a whole.
Yeah,
other...
it literally. She doesn't owe you anything. I'm literally just like.
But like in it, it's one of them like ... and like he sat there and he was just like, oh, it's devastating. I got ghosted. Never heard from her again. We got on so well. And then Mr. Weatherman comes on and basically outs this whole thing, and that's how the interview came back out.
Don't you think what I thought was absolute beautiful irony? So he was absolutely slandering Meghan for quitting the royal family because it was too much for her. But when that interview got too much for him, when it was only about 2-3 minutes of deserved criticism, he stormed out, and he was just like, it's too much.
It went even that long. Although I was really surprised that he shut the fuck up for 2 seconds.
But the thing is, I think he was seething, like he was angry, which is why he didn't say anything. Like he wasn't listening. He was just like,
I think again,
that's why he just
left. His misogyny, because if Suzanne,
she can leave it as well.
Yeah, don't even
pack up your
that's another thing.
Pack up your problems in your own.
Like we've spoke about, the women that carry the water for the patriarchy, you're just as bad, like sitting there and letting him spout this rubbish. And yeah, she did speak up a little, but she was like,
say it with your chest.
Do not let this man, if we're gonna be the person, be Billy Big Bollocks that interrupts everyone and speaks over everyone until they stand there and listen to you. Do that to him, especially when you feel necessary. Be like, listen, mate, you're gonna have to shut up and stop. We're in the middle of a Be Kind campaign and a mental health awareness campaign, and you're literally sitting on live TV and saying, I don't believe this girl's suicide or whatever it was. I think she's a liar. I think she's this, that, and the other. Like, she let him talk over her. Not only is the issue that obviously men do feel like they can speak over women more, and Piers let the weather guy talk. I don't even know his name, but let the weather guy.
If it was Susanna, it wouldn't. It wouldn't happen.
Even when he was having that pop at the other co-presenter for a skirt or a dress or whatever. Did you see that one? Mm-hmm. Where he was basically saying, "Oh, summer's arrived because she's got a short skirt on." Like, oh my god, no. Really inappropriate. No, really uncomfortable to watch.
Why are you making comment on
when she tried to say something? Talking over her. Always talking over her. The male cameraman panning into her skirt. Like, it is systematic, and they allow it to happen because no one's in his ears being like, "Piers, shut up. Let Susanna talk. Actually, relax."
Did you see his tweet where he was like, "Well, the episode, the day that I stormed off and quit, that actually got the highest rating, so my job's done."
Yeah.
But also that same time, you were slandering Meghan, slandering mental health awareness, just
got
making light
because
of it.
People
So
were complaining about you.
So I'm like, so you think that all that you did was worth it, and now your job's done, so you're happy that you've done all that just so you can get higher ratings? 41,000 Ofcom complaints
and then
he got.
off the back of that as well. So he did another tweet like, "Oh, I've had time to think about it, and like I stand by my opinion. This is the hill I'll die on, or whatever." And I just thought, "Oh my God, grow the fuck up."
Did you just see my lips move? I was about to say, but the spirit stopped me. The spirit stopped me. I'd be like, die on that hill then. You know what? No.
A curse upon your house.
Nah, I can't even. Like, I'm not going to lie, because I'm really not one to... Whoa. But, like, I'm really not one to laugh at the downfall of people. So, like, I honestly, I'm not going to lie, I really did refrain. But I was a bit like, well...
I just didn't find it funny. Like, I didn't find it funny.
I
None
didn't
of
think
it's
it's funny.
funny,
No.
especially because he's still there tweeting and giving him interviews and being like, "Yeah, I'll say that with my chest again."
Say it with your chest, that's
stop
fine,
this
but yeah.
idiot. Stop giving him a platform to speak
And
on.
it will happen. Like, you saw it with Katie Hopkins. She's banned from Twitter. Praise be to the Lord. Because, like, it got to the point where it was damaging. And I'm like, don't get me wrong. Like, yes, I understand that there is freedom of speech, but that doesn't mean that there's freedom of consequence and conscience.
Yeah.
Like, you can't behave the way that you behave. If somebody was spouting stuff like that on the street, they'd be arrested for disturbance of peace.
Yeah, I'm sick of this. Like, oh, it's just free speech. No, it's not just free speech. Because what your speech is doing is not freeing in any way. Like, it's literally affecting so many people. So much so that they felt the need to write in and have him.
Do you know what it was as well?
Ousted.
What it was, I honestly think. So, because Callum was saying to me, he goes, "Oh yeah, I made an Ofcom complaint." He was like, "The TikTokers made me do it." Yeah. And apparently, loads of people on TikTok. So I don't have TikTok. Well, I have it, but like
they're all like 16-year-olds.
Yeah,
he says.
but they like all banded together. They all banded together, and were like, "You know what? No, let's take this guy down. Children are the future.
Honest
Invest in them. Find a local youth centre and donate 100
in it. Like teach your kids the right way.
Yeah, man.
To be.
Don't
like,
let your kids watch Good Morning
Britain. I actually welled up when he said it. You know, like obviously we're having bants in the chat, but like I welled up because I was like,
they were like,
you know
no,
what?
this cannot run.
There is change happening.
Yeah,
like,
this
because
cannot run.
We're so out of touch
okay.
with that generation because we are still technically young. I don't feel it. But
yeah, but apparently skinny jeans are out, and they laugh that we say adulting. And
adulting, innit? That's like literally
and
in
our
description.
They don't have side partings.
Bro.
Jokes.
I've never felt so old in my life. But anyway, I feel like I've got hope.
Yeah.
That they're picking up the torch and they're running with it. And I do feel like this is a milestone in one way, but in another way it's very disappointing in our society and the reactions
I just think it's just so telling of his character and just who he is as a person, that he couldn't even withstand 90 seconds of reasonable criticism. It just like emulates the white fragility, because
it's
Meghan had to endure that,
white fragility,
not only from people within the royal family, but the media, from people she doesn't even know, passing comments to the point where she wanted to kill herself.
And she's still here.
And she's still here.
She didn't even walk away from it. Like,
yeah.
He got his ass up off that seat and he shifted.
He's like, nope, can't do this. Don't do it then. No. Bye. See you later.
Kiddie tantrum.
Innit?
I've literally seen the maddest memes about him though, and I cannot stop crying. I saw one where they'd done, you know, the pigeon lady from
Home Alone.
Yeah. And they're like, someone spotted Piers talking to pigeon, and they did a picture of it. And honest to God, they look at the spit. I was like sobbing. I thought it was so funny.
So we put on our Instagram the question on who said that comment. So the comment of which royal family member raised their concerns to Harry and Meghan about how dark their kids, like their future girls, skin would be. And I'm like, the fact that even came out of their mouth is abhorrent in itself. But also, if you had any form of sense,
that's the first thing, isn't it?
If you had any form of sense, Meghan is half black.
Yeah.
Harry is white. He's
fully
ginger.
White.
He's ginger. So I'm like, he's white.
Basically reflecting sunlight at this point.
The way that we have to angle these these lights.
Bro.
Warm light. Wait, cold light, warm light.
It is what it is.
I'm like, you're not even going to be able to tell.
It doesn't.
You're not going to be able to tell, but that's even beside the point.
You're not going to be able to tell. That it doesn't need to be a question, shouldn't be a question anyway. What kind of dumbass question?
So we asked, who do we think said that question? So obviously, someone said Camilla, whereas I honestly think Camilla's chilling. She's not here. She's not bothered. Do you know what I mean? She's just there to be there.
I said Camilla though.
Did you? She's just there to be there.
I thought, do you know what? She's got that type of audacity in it.
Yeah.
She's got that type
That's
of
true.
audacity
Where
she would say something about that, given that she basically cuckolded Harry's mom.
Yeah, that's mad.
I thought this. Yeah. She gives out audacity for free. It could be Camilla.
A couple of people said Princess Anne and Charles simply because they just look racist. That's what people have said.
Do you know what shocked me though? All of the people that said Will.
I said Will.
You said Will.
I didn't reply to myself, obviously, because that's weird. But I honestly, this is the hill that I'd die on. Like, it's Will.
Fuck the institution.
So this is why. So at first I
think I know what you're gonna say.
At first I did think it was Charles because I was a bit like, it was loads of factors. It was the age, it was the perspective, it was the way he looked. And I know that's awful, but do you know when, like, sometimes when you like in certain areas of England, you see a pub and you're like, that pub just looks racist. I just know that I'm going to get a couple of comments in there. So you don't go. That's the same vibe I got from Charles. Just a British pub.
He is the epitome of a British
pub. But the reason why I said it was Will is because, and my friend Loladay told me this as well. Do you know how Harry said that him and his brother fell out?
Yeah.
And they're not speaking at all. And he said there's a big healing process that has to happen.
I thought he was talking about his dad.
No, he's talking about Will. Because he was saying at first Charles wasn't answering his calls, but now he is. But he's saying his relationship with Will is really, really bad. They don't speak. And he's saying he hopes that time is a healer, but he said he's not sure.
Yeah.
And especially when you see like interviews with them in the past, they are so close. They banter each other. Like, they just had a great relationship. And you could see in his face, even when he was speaking about Will, that you could just see how hurt he was, which is why I think it's.
I thought you were gonna say it's because racists don't age well in it.
They don't actually.
And that hairline is receding.
Yeah, that hairline is ripped back, which is true. Like, could you imagine if that was my honest answer? It's Will because he's got a receding hairline.
You had a glint in your eye, like, do you know what?
Wait,
this is the hill I am dying
on. Because he looks old. No, I generally think it's because of what Harry said.
See, I think
because they were really close.
You are making some good points there, but it could be any reason. The fact that he asked so many people to support him and help him with Meghan. Nearly called her Rachel then.
I know, but he asked loads of other people that, and so for example, the relationship with Queen Liz, Charles for that matter, whatever. Like, why would his brothers be any different? So I do think it's that. And then remember when Meghan basically said she can't say who said it because it'd be very damaging to them. Yeah. So for example, if it was Philip, it doesn't really matter because it's almost curtains for him anyway.
And to be fair,
they
did back Kate though, didn't they? They backed Kate. They were like, no one say shit.
And I think especially because they do respect Kate to that degree.
Yeah. They would
out of respect for her, they wouldn't say. I do think if it was Charles, I honestly do think that Harry would just say. Because he was just like, my dad didn't return my calls. No one asked. No one asked. And he's just telling you he's not answering my calls. Like, I know he could hear them. I know he could hear them rings with them.
This is why, because loads of people obviously hating on the Queen herself. And, like, for me at this point, after they Meghan made the extra effort to put in the barrier between the family members
and the institution,
I thought that was so important because I feel like she was choosing her words very carefully at points. And these were the ones where they were
can't
like,
slander
you
the
have the
Queen,
family members, you have them in work mode, which are two very different things. And she made sure to make that a point as well. Like, they are two very different things.
Yeah.
And then you also have the institution and all the media people and all the people that work for the institution and stuff like that. And they said from day dot, the Queen has been nothing but supportive the whole time, nothing but welcoming. She said the little thing about the putting the blanket. I thought that was so cute. And the fact that they call, like, she calls the Queen, they talk on like a semi-regular basis. Like, I don't think if the Queen could have said something, I don't think that she could have said something, because you know, where she went into like detail about the institution, like they're talking about the layers of it and stuff, like the most senior ones they said, and things like that. Like, you've got to think, if you want to put a statement out in that family, you have to go through several people to even get
Liz
it
has
to the
to do
media.
that as well, and I bet she don't even write her own thing.
Exactly. Even if she went rogue on the Christmas bumming speech or something, that's pre-recorded. Edit. Click,
Yeah, that's
click.
so.
Do you know what I mean? She actually couldn't. It's not as simple to just stand there and go, actually, I'm not backing the media at all on this one. I'm gonna back Meghan. Everyone lay off.
Yeah.
No matter how much she wants to do that, I don't think she can. I think she genuinely is a prisoner of the crown. She never even asked for that either. She never asked for that life.
I don't think she's that bothered.
For that life, apart from the people that marry into it. Like,
I don't think she's bothered. Like, obviously, this is me speaking from.
Which way?
I think she's just chilling, and I know this is like from me, a person who is not a royal, believe it or not.
She's like how cute she is.
My daddy says I'm a princess. But I think I understand that this is from my like, very isolated point of view, but she doesn't really seem that bothered. Whereas like when you have, for example, Prince Harry, even before he did this interview, he was very vocal on his, I don't know, desired autonomy almost.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, where she's just kind of like, if you want me to do a speech, I'll do a speech. If you want me to stand and wave, I'll stand and wave.
I think it's just a way of life. Like, I say prisoner in the sense of like, she doesn't have any autonomy as to what she can go and do, whether she wants it or not. But I'm just saying, even if she wanted to turn around and go like, do you know what, I'm releasing a rogue statement,
she can't.
It would be intercepted, it would be changed, it'd be edited, because like Harry was saying, the rest of the royal family are terrified of the media turning on them.
Did you watch her interview before the Harry and Meghan interview?
The Queen?
Yeah.
No.
Did she do? I think she did one.
Did she?
Because I thought they were saying that the Queen was going to do an interview before the... Or maybe that was just a massive meme. I get meme in real life.
Are you talking about whether she's like coming on the records?
Not that one. Not that one.
I was like, surely you know that's not
No,
real.
not that one. But I thought there was going to be... I honestly don't know what I'm thinking right now. Someone confirm in the comments, because I'm super confused.
Yeah, I don't know what you're on about.
But I thought there was going to be a thing where the Queen was going to say something prior, or I don't know. And I was like so sure in my head that she was just going to be like, Philip's dead.
Philip's dead.
Just to distract
to try
from...
and distract from it.
Of course.
Oh my God, I've seen the one where they're like, where they put the speech bubble on Harry being like, we had to defrost him every day. I was fucking crying.
Literally, that's what I'm like. I was like, I swear they just take him out for pics. Do you know what I mean?
I can't even, but...
And they're worried, and that's why I'm saying, why are they worried about the colour of the child when Philip's practically purple, bro?
Oh my! They've got so many other things to worry about, and then they pick this. But that's how deep it goes in these institutions.
Isn't it? They're too bothered about the colour of a child when Philip's going to tap out any day now.
Literally, and they're all bloody incest anyway.
Your mum's your dad.
Like, like, are we actually gonna deep this? Are we gonna go tit for tat because you don't want none of this heat? Like, you don't want none of this heat. If I was Meghan, I'd be like,
bro.
Talk to me.
So this
I'll talk back.
Oh, T-Pain. So this is a question that popped up for me when I was listening to the interview. So would you ever marry a person, because obviously you'd always marry the person because they're a fantastic person.
Would I ever marry a person?
No.
Up for debate.
So if, let's say this individual was absolutely fantastic, they were incredible, blah, 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 blah. So, for example, Meghan to Harry. She absolutely loves him. They've got great common ground. She thinks he's amazing, intelligent, blah, blah, blah. but the family are hella toxic. Are you marrying into that family?
That's it. I'd like to say I would, but at the end of the day, like, if this interview's taught you anything, the amount of effect that it can have on your life. Because what I want for my kids is a healthy environment, and that would not be healthy. Like, I want them to have loads of cousins or like be close to their relatives and stuff like that. And
I didn't actually think of that. That's crazy.
And if they can't do that, you're taking a whole section of your child's life away. Like, because it would be that deep. I would probably try everything to try and level with them, but if
so the reason why I say that, so for example, you have a lot of black people, so whether it's a black man or a black woman and they've married into a white family, but that white family is racist. No, they're racist. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And it's one of those where, while their partner isn't racist, if anything, they're very pro or whatever, but their family is.
What is their partner checking their family, or? Yeah,
but at the end of the day, even if they are checking the family, that is going to be a long process of unlearning. Like, let's say especially if it's like a mother or a father and they're at 40, 50, that's 50 years of unlearning that they're going to have to do. Yeah. It's not going to happen in the 1 year or 2 years of engagement that you're going to have. So for me, I'm like, well, would you still go into that marriage because the person's amazing, but like there's loads of other things that you'd have to think about: your mental health, your own well-being. If you have
children as
if
well.
You have kids, their grandparents are going to make
the trauma that they're going to inherit.
Exactly, they're going to make comments about how they look, or why they're saying certain things to their mum or their dad, or why you don't see that side of the family. And because you can't really say to your little kid, why don't we see dad's mum? It's because they're racist. It's whether, do you know what I mean? Like, you can't.
It's whether you want to, how far you're willing to take it. Like, what sacrifices you're willing to make in that situation. Because if, say, for example, I had a fully racist redneck family or whatever. Ooh, I shouldn't have said redneck. Sorry.
I'm editing this one, and I think I'm going to leave that
in. If your family's like real racist, like ingrained in them, is it a decision where you value that love more than you value that toxic family? Because
it's not about valuing the toxic family, it's valuing your own sanity and well-being.
But this is what I'm saying is you have to make the choice as to whether, because this person could maybe just cut off that side of the family, but then you valuing the love and willing to sacrifice all of that side of the culture or that side of
it's not even
what
that,
your
like,
children will be able to experience. Your partner,
that is so difficult for them as well, because now this is a family that they've grown up with. The mother that's birthed them, now they're going to have to cut them off for you.
Yeah, but it would be their decision, obviously. You can't force someone to do that. Like,
say bye to your mum today.
I'm coming from a perspective where they would be willing to do that. But you're still sacrificing something. You're still sacrificing something for your kids. It's not just a clean break.
That's what you're sacrificing.
Yeah, 100%. You're sacrificing a family unit.
Yeah.
And that's super important. To me, it's super important. But it is a very real and prominent issue, especially when, like, there's more people gaining understanding and there's maybe more common interracial relationships in this day and age because of that understanding in our generation. That is a very big problem.
Yeah, so I'd actually do want to know from people who are listening to the podcast, if it's on Spotify, head over to our Instagram, drop us a DM or comment on our podcast picture and let us know what you think about that. And then if you're listening on YouTube, comment in the comments about what you think. Would you go into a marriage with somebody where the family is toxic, or would you lock it off? Because I think that is quite interesting.
Yeah. And we're talking like toxic.
Yeah, toxic.
Not just like bit annoying.
Like,
we're talking like racist.
Like they're vegetarian and you're not. We're not talking about
that. We're not talking like silly little things. We're talking about like toxic.
Because I think it's such a massive sacrifice that Harry made, but like at the end of the day, like, it got to the point where it was literally a life or death situation.
100%.
Like, he was like, my wife will probably die.
And he made that choice with his chest. He's not looking back at the end of the day.
But it's one of those.
And he's mending relationships, but sometimes you just gotta clean break that shit.
Cut
Cut it.
Cut it. Let's put that song at the end of this. Cut it. Yeah, yeah, and it is really tough, but it was the decision that he did, and I think it's so, I can't even imagine.
It's for the better though. I feel like, again, he feels like he's also released himself from a huge burden that he didn't even know he was under.
How mad is that? Like, not knowing.
I don't think that's mad at all. I think so many people go through it
Because
all the time.
I know some people who've been in really, really compromising situations, but not realised how compromising that situation is until they get out of it, and they were like, Estelle, I can't believe that.
It's crazy because
that's how you've lived your life.
People are manipulative.
Yeah, and like, do you know when people say ignorance is bliss? Like, literally, that's just how he was living life.
Yeah.
And now he's coming out looking at the other side like, oh my gosh.
He was like, I knew from the minute that we were in a relationship it was going to be a thing. And then obviously Oprah was like, the race. And he was like, no, just me having a girlfriend, like, on that basic level. And then I straight up saw where it was going.
Did you see a while ago when there was bare pics of Prince Harry with Rihanna?
No.
I remember there was one time where I was so certain, I was like, she's going to be the next princess.
Oh, really?
Yeah, princess or duchess or whatever them call it. But yeah, and I was just like, yeah, there was like, they were always together in pictures and
never
whatever.
seen that.
Yeah, but she'd be too brown for the royal family.
Oh my lord.
It just won't happen. It won't happen. She's got an accent and everything. They wouldn't allow it. They wouldn't allow it.
Absolutely. But yeah, I think it was crazy as well how they expected her to learn everything.
Yeah, I thought.
Do you like
Princess Diaries when you have like the lessons?
Yeah, I thought it'd be like that.
You cross your legs like this, you do that, and they were just like, "Do you know how to curtsy?" Why would I know how to curtsy?
In the taxi on the way there, you know.
How can I practice? How can
taxis.
I? In the car, darling. How can I practice? It's probably a really tall car. She can probably stand up. But yeah, I can't believe that she just had to get out and go for it.
Yeah, and
because like, if I'm meeting a grandma, like my like boyfriend's like grandma for the first time, I'm giving her a hug. I ain't curtsying.
Oh my god,
I might do that next time in like 10 years time. When I'm in my next
I don't even know what I do these days. It's been so long.
I'll just be like, Your Majesty.
But it literally, imagine being thrown into a world you know nothing about. It's literally like getting a job that you have no qualifications for, that you're just literally like, okay, now go.
Yeah.
Code this computer. That'd be me.
Coding?
That meme with the like sweat.
Yeah. Well, oh yeah. Is it Jordan Peele? And he's just got the sweat.
Yeah. That'd be me.
Yeah. A very interesting conversation, very interesting topic. I'm sure there's going to be loads more to come out of it, and we'll jump back on here in this
keep the memes coming on social media, really.
Yeah. No Karen's Club podcast with Estelle and Hannah.
We out.
Yeah.